Okay, I am going to call the meeting to order at 6:04. This is our board reorganization meeting. So we'll start off with board reorganization. So the first thing I'd like to do is I'm looking for nominations for the chair position.
Yep.
I nominate
Yep.
Mark.
Any other nominations? Hearing none, all in favor of Mort serving as the board chair, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Congratulations, Mort. I'm gonna turn the meeting over to you.
All right, thank you.
Do you have the list? The order?
Oh, I got it.
You got it.
We got it right here.
Okay, so with the board reorganization, we do have a vacant slot. Do you want me to do that one now, or do you want me to wait? Vacant. I do
it's-
have somebody that's interested in it. She's not here, but,
I think we have it under board business.
okay. You want me to-
So you
we'll
could do
at
it now or we could do it at the end. It's up to
We'll do it at the
you.
end.
Who's the vacant slot?
Okay, so I'll take nominations for vice chair. I nominate Sarah.
Yep.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye.
Okay.
Okay, and for clerk, have any nominations for clerk?
I nominate Rachel.
Anyone else? Okay, all those in favor for Rachel?
Aye.
I'm an aye. Okay, supervisory union representative, we need 3 members. Do you have any nominations for supervisory union?
Last year it was more Akua and Sarah. That was on the SU board.
Do you want to go over?
I'm sure you don't keep it the same.
Rachel, do you want to be on it? No. Okay.
Okay, so we'll keep it the same as me, Sarah, and Akua. Anyone else interested? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
I'm an aye.
Aye.
Okay, policy committee is for 1. Who is it currently?
You?
Me?
No, it's Josh.
Josh.
It's
Oh, it's Josh?
Josh.
I nominate Josh. Any other nominations? All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
I'm an aye. Okay, negotiations council of 2 members.
Akua and Sarah is what it is right now.
Me and Sarah.
So. So how many years are these contracts? Okay.
It's, it is up to you. It is, we're mid negotiations right now, but I will say Sarah, has been doing this a long time. Akua has jumped in recently. I think this is her 2nd year,
I
maybe.
think you're a second go. I'm not sure, but yeah.
So the other side has a support staff team and a teacher negotiation team. And they have to do that because they have some people who would have a conflict of interest on one team versus another. So, I mean, that is something this team could consider because it is a heavy lift for board members, especially if you're on both teams, but you don't have to. You also could, if you wanted to finish this out, and then say at the end of this, I would like to step off that committee, you could look for, we reorganize regularly in March. But if a vacancy comes up partway through the year, we also can refill it at that time.
Okay. Yeah, I think I like to see it out and then see
Okay.
where it stands. Does that sound right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're gonna stay on it?
Yes.
Okay, Sarah and
Akua.
Akua. Anyone else? Okay, all those in favor for Sarah and Akua?
Aye.
I'm an aye. Okay. Negotiations.
So you no longer have a finance committee, but we would be looking for a motion to approve warrants electronically.
Okay. Entertain a motion to approve warrants electronically. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Rachel made the motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye.
And just say, remember, we're not sending checks out until we get approval, so, when you see those approvals come in, it would be great to get, or those requests come in, it would be great to get approvals back a little quicker.
Okay. And regular meeting and schedule, location, I'd like to keep it the same.
Like, okay.
Rotate
So is it
between
working for
schools.
people because we tried something new this year so that you could get into each of our buildings and we hadn't previously done that? Is that something you want to stick with?
Yes. I would like to.
People liking that?
Yeah, that's good.
I haven't heard anything from the public that it isn't. We don't often have a lot of people from the public unless they're coming for a specific topic. So I'm not hearing that people are having a hard time finding meetings.
Okay.
Okay.
I post it a lot too, like, I posted multiple times where the location is.
Okay.
Okay, and the location of posting meeting and agenda, where's that, is that, Courtney, where are we doing that right now?
I post it on our website and then I send it to each town clerk in all the schools. And they post it.
Okay, everybody go to that?
Yes?
No changes?
It's a
Yeah.
lot easier
Okay.
if we do.
Thank you. Robert's Rules of Order, just.
So you have approved for the past several years Robert's rules for small boards,
Right.
so that the chair can still vote. It's essentially the biggest difference there. So if you wanted to continue on in this way, that's the motion that you would make.
Everybody okay with that?
Yeah.
Yeah, Josh, good with that? Okay. And Code of Ethics for Vermont School Board members.
So I brought those for you. So it asks you, I think it's a good practice each year to take a look at the code of ethics just to remind yourself so that you don't find yourself in a situation where you have maybe not thought through what your responsibilities are as a board member. So each of you has 2 of those. You can keep one as a reminder and then sign one and return it my way if you could. So if you could just take a moment for you to read through that code of ethics, I think that would be great.
And then the FNSU Board Member Conflict of Interest Policy.
Do you want to jump to that, or do we want to stick on the code of ethics until
Let's-
people have a
let's stick
chance to read through?
You're supposed to keep those.
Okay, all right.
Just one copy, and then give you the other one.
Okay. Now, the FNESU Board Member Conflict of Interest Policy.
Sorry, I'm trying to get to that online. So I think this is also another example of something that is important to just take a look at. We live in a small community and several of you have your own businesses, and just make sure that you understand what you can and can't do in terms of the conflict of interest piece. And I think that, you know, every once in a while there'll be something that comes up for a board discussion, and if you identify something that is really a little too close to you, it is your responsibility to self-identify that that's a conflict of interest for you, and not vote on something. You could just recuse yourself for that. And then just in terms of, this also talks about avoiding conflicts, and then making sure that you're not putting yourself in a situation of benefiting others based on your work on the board. Any other questions about that policy?
Official media for publishing meetings.
So we don't really use a publication anymore. We don't have a local paper. The Messenger, I think, is I'm not sure how many times they publish. What?
So down to once a week, I think.
It's down to once a week now. So we every once in a while will use the Messenger for something, but we have not identified an official media publication for a while.
Do you want to get rid of that one, or do we have to have it in there?
I think that we have to have the conversation. If we had to post something on media, we would use the Messenger, but I don't think that we have identified them as our formal.
No, it was always, when the courier was around, it was the two of them, but now that they're
Right.
gone, it's kinda,
By default, the
yeah,
Messenger.
by default, it's them.
Yeah. I think we could just agree that that's what we would use if we needed to, but.
Okay, board communication spokesman, I believe that's you.
So if there's something that happens in media, you've probably seen it if you've been on the board for a while. Something big happens in the community, sometimes the media will try to get to board members. And that's a tricky situation for board members because you can't speak on behalf of the board without the full board. So you're an individual private citizen unless you are together as a board. That's when you have your authority. So I typically am the spokesperson and I work with board chairs if there needs to be a statement about something. It has always defaulted to board chairs.
Okay, everybody good with that?
Yep.
Okay, keep it the same. Okay, review policies. And that is that the ERUUSD policy?
So if you could click in the public comment piece, I think it's important to review this too. This is something that during COVID, we had a kind of a lot going on here, as did some other communities, and it resulted in us taking a deeper look at who we should be allowing to take up space and time in our public meetings. So we have a list of people who may address the board and how it goes when there's public comment, how you would set time limits, use a speaker list, and when they're done kind of thing, and that it is not a two-way back and forth debate, that it is the board listening. So any questions or comments about recognition of visitor policy? Handling complaints is also a policy that often board members find themselves needing in situations where you need to understand that, and I think for the most part, board members do a really great job with that. You are representatives of your community, so sometimes people will try to go to you first, and that handling complaints is very clear about the chain of command that you are supposed to use. They need to go to the source when something happens. So if their complaint is about a teacher, you should encourage them to go to the teacher. If not settled there, you should go to the principal and then the superintendent before anything rises to the board level. So just keep those pieces in mind, that they really should follow the chain.
All right, board development plan, professional development, and new board member orientation.
So we've struggled a little with the board professional development. We've struggled to find common times for board members to do the board retreat training. But that's something that we're going to keep trying to do, especially given some of the shifts and challenges that we're going to be facing in public education in the coming years. So I know we're working in my office to think about some changes that are happening at the federal level that we really should do some legal training on. So we'll be reaching out to try to schedule that. I would like us to get onto a rotation where we're doing that at least 3 times a year. 4 would be best, but I would be happy with 3 because you're in a situation where you often have to make decisions, and your decisions need to be, in the case of this, information that I want to bring to the next one based on, what's right in terms of, the law. And there are other times where you just need to have background information, you need to have knowledge in order to make decisions. So we'll keep pushing forward with having board retreats, and you can look for another opportunity for one coming soon.
And the new board member orientation, I think everybody's done that already, I think.
So I haven't, I'll be honest, I've not done a great job with that piece. It's on my list. I think, did you ever get the VSBA packet, the book?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. And advocacy, current legislative issues.
So all of you as VSBA members, you should be receiving emails through your FNESU email account from Vermont School Boards Association regularly. Those are really important, and there are times where you will have legislative issues that come up and they will be like a call to action. You have a right to speak out about those things as an individual. And you can't speak on behalf of the board unless you create a statement on behalf of the board. But it's certainly something that you could weigh in on. I think that paying attention to the legislative session this year is more important than ever. And I think it serves us all well if you're all really paying attention to what Sue and her team are sending you through the Vermont School Boards Association. So typically if there's anything in terms of the board lead, that would be more in, there are training opportunities. I will just say that. I know that's not under this, but the VSBA trainings are also really helpful. And they will sometimes run legislative updates as well.
Okay, brings us into consent agenda, previous minutes. Do you have any issues, concerns with those? No, I'll entertain a motion to accept those.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, Sarah made the motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
I'm an aye. Policy, there's nothing in the first read. Second read is student athletics, clubs, and activities. Any questions, concerns on that one? Okay, entertain a motion to accept that one.
Motion.
Rachel made the motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye. Okay, agenda prioritization. Do we need to reprioritize anything?
I would love to move my facilities update to after the, we have 2 school spotlights tonight, so after the second spotlight.
Okay, recognition of visitors.
Nobody else.
No visitors? Everybody's good?
I think that they're all here for spotlight or
Oh, they're all here for
facilities
spotlight,
and spotlight,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
All right, perfect.
Sorry, I meant to say no visitors who want
know.
to do public comment.
Okay, we'll get right into the school spotlight then.
So we have Enosburgh Elementary here to do a spotlight, and no, Jen really wanted to be here, but she had a family issue and was not able to. So I don't know if they're ready to go or if we should go to the high school.
No, they're probably ready. They were just waiting.
Okay. Do you know who's leading her?
No, it's Liz.
Oh. We're ready for you. She had a job keeping quiet.
Yeah. I found them at like 4:45 and it was.
She's having this inside distance right after school.
Hi.
I'm Melissa McKinstry. I'm the librarian at Enosburgh Elementary School, and we have been working with grades 3 through 5 on research and 3D design. They have been researching different animals and then constructing the designs in our library class. So in their classroom, they're doing their research and informational writing, and at library time, they're using Tinkercad to design their animals. So, to the next slide. These are some of our 3D printers, and they use a polylactic acid filament. It's kind of like a printer uses ink. It uses this filament, it melts it, and it takes their design, and drops it layer by layer to make the designs. So today we have a couple 4th graders, Jackson and Holden. We have 4 3rd graders, Ryder, Eileen, Harley, and Sammy. And some of the things why we do this is because it kind of links in, like I said, the research and writing with technology. It does a lot of problem solving, and they have to figure out why things sometimes fall apart or they don't come out the right size. They have to remeasure. So it's been a lot of fun with that problem solving part of it. So the first person up, I think, is Jackson.
So this is the animal I'm working on. It's a dingo.
This design is just a dingo I found on Tinkercad search engine, the word dingo, and a base plate. A dingo is a predator, so it eats meat. They eat mostly rabbits, but they eat quails too. They also eat walnuts, kangaroos, and wallabies. And I made this bone because it's simpler than painting a animal.
What was your favorite part, you think? Jackson, what was your favorite part? Do you remember? Nope. Okay. Please don't forget, that's it. So, Holden.
Hi, my name is Holden, and I've been studying on the bobcat. I wanted to do the physical features because I thought it was pretty cool. The bobcat is a really big cat. It has sharp claws and really big paws. Bobcats can also run, jump, and climb. It is 24 to 40 inches long and 47 to 58 pounds. Its fur can change to white and brown. They have long whiskers on their face. They help them move around at night. And I actually did 2 bobcat skulls to compare what the difference was. We made one very small and one very big. And these are the supports. There's probably more than one, but I took them off. The supports help them stay up. Like if you had something that was like down, the supports would help them. And you can take them off with pliers, or if they're very light, you can just take them off with your hands. Thank you.
Awesome. Good job. Good job. The next one. And all their writing is going to be up along the wall there, so if you want to read their writing and see more prints are up there. So Ryder is in 3rd grade, and that group did symbiotic relationships. So what does that mean, symbiotic relationships? I know.
It means symbiosis is when an animal help each other.
Yeah. So what animals did you work on that work together as a friendship?
I did a hippo, an oxpecker, and labia fish. And
what was your favorite part?
my favorite part was when
What did you like the most? I know you worked really hard on your pond. At first, did your hippo fit in your pond?
we had to make a different one.
Yeah, it didn't fit, did it? And then what happened? I think we lost a tail on a fish too. We had to kind of revamp that,
Yeah,
right?
And then we had to print this one, and then I did a test subject one, and then we printed one with the oxpecker on it, and I also printed a bigger pond.
Awesome. You did a good job, Ryder. Thank you. All right. And then Eileen was going to show what it looks like when they bring the objects into Tinkercad. So she's doing the tarantula.
You're going to have to come over here.
Oh, that's right. She's going to go there. Here. So she designed a cave. This is her original design to make the cave. And then she made a spider to go with it. And she's going to show how you resize and move things around in Tinkercad. So how did you put this, why did we put the spider on the plate? Why did we do that?
Because last time we figured out the legs were too thin and it was really hard to take off the support, so we added a plate under it.
Yes, that's right. And then how did you put it on the plate? Can you show how you move the...
I took a cylinder from the Tinker thing, and then I sized it on down, and then I made it black, and then I put the spider on top.
Nice, good job. I don't know if you can you move the spider off of that in there, or is it not, you're not able to? Maybe you can show. So there's like 2 objects there. Are they?
Probably
There
not.
might have to close that cruise tool out, X that out, maybe you can
Oh, I can.
Oh, perfect. So she can kind of move the objects, and she can look all around. Can you show them how you can look all around the work plate as she's working? And then, how did you know how big that was? Like, how can you tell how big that is?
You click on this little thing, and then it shows how big it is.
Yeah. So 47 remember what unit that was? It's metric, so we did it 47 millimeters, right?
Yeah.
We used the ruler to do our measurements. Do you want to show the next one? Good job. I think the next one is Harley's. Harley worked on a pitcher plant, and he worked really hard on resizing the hook up there.
I made an original and I messed up by making it too small. So I looked back at it and I took the corner piece right here. It was usually a little small, but then I sized it up a little like this.
And why was it too small? What did you hope to do with that little piece right there?
I hope to make this thing bigger so when I put the bat on it, it could hang off.
Okay, so they have that relationship, the bat and the pitcher plant, so perfect. And then sometimes we have a hard time searching for things. I mean, we can build from our objects and then we can find other people's designs in Tinkercad. But Sammy used a different program altogether to find an object, right? What do you have for your object? Thank you so much, Harley. You did a great job with that.
I have also a bat and a pitcher plant. So it's tiny. And then it just goes in.
So we had a hard time finding carnivorous plants, I believe. I think we found a couple on Tinkercad, but then we went to a different program. What do we go to?
Thingiverse.
Thingiverse. Maybe you can click and show the different pages of it. I think we can click on it. Let me see if we have a picture feed. Oh, there's much.
This was the pitcher plant I found. And I had to size it right, but that didn't work a few times because the bat wouldn't fit in it.
Yes.
I have another one of these at home that the legs, they ripped off. So I reprinted this tiny one so it could just fit in the regular pitcher plant.
What was your favorite part of redesign?
How the bat's tiny.
Measuring. Yeah, so I think we have some more slides on symbiotic relationships, but that's kind of the gist of all the work they've been doing in library. Combining literacy program, my view units of animal and informational research with 3D printing and design. And we have more of their projects along the back wall and more of their prints as well, so feel free to look at them and peruse. Good job, Sammy.
Melissa, thank you so much. I know that we were scheduled to do this in Enosburgh, and I think that we had, was it a snow day?
We were sick.
Everybody was sick.
Everybody was
It was
sick.
bad
and
weather.
So I appreciate you coming in to do this here, and I just want to say that the power of the interdisciplinary teaching and being able to make that connection from what's happening in the classroom to what's happening in the library, and then using these technological, like, future-focused skills for these kids at this young age is really powerful.
It's really kind of neat because it's a struggle to get there. We did a unique design first, like a keychain, so I had them not look at other people's designs. They had to make their own. Yes, right now.
My thingy.
Oh, you can go grab it. And so that taught them how to like manipulate objects from scratch. And then we started diving into other people's designs and adding things to it. So this is like a from scratch item. This is somebody else's design that she put a plate on. So people share their designs because they want people to grow and learn from them.
That's fantastic.
You can take it with you.
Thank you so much.
Oh, we'll play this one at the school, yes. That's all I have for questions from my daughter. So much.
Thank you very much.
I love mom. You're the best mom. I'm like a pencil holder.
Do you have a spotlight?
Yes, we do. Actually, so the middle high school spotlight is
in the fall, we did high school, and in the spring is middle school. So Heather put together a little presentation to share really about the professional work, I believe, the professional work that the middle school team is doing together. Heather, do you want to wave? So we know, yep, okay, good, good. And Courtney will show the video, and then if you have any questions, or if Heather, do you want to cue this up in any way? She does not. Okay.
No, it's just sorry. I just put a quick video together about how we build community in the middle school, the different ways, both academically and socially. Hi everyone. My name is Heather Hawkins, and I am the assistant principal here at Enosburgh Falls Middle School, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how we build community here in our middle school. First thing I wanted to show you, in our hallway, we have Be Nice, Work Hard on the wall. This has been a motto for the middle school for many years, and it's something that the kids get to see every day, and we refer to as well. It's powerful being on the wall. Last summer, I worked with our staff to come up with 4 to 5 values that we would remember and come back to. If we were leaning into any kind of new initiative or anything that we're making a decision about, we would come back to these values on how to support those initiatives or things we were thinking about. And these were the 5 that, through a protocol, felt the most important to our staff: belonging in community, integrity, learning, respect, and perseverance. Community meetings is another way we build community here at the middle school. Every month we gather in the auditorium, and this is usually for a half an hour. There's many things that happen at community meetings. Consistently, we always pick an all-star. About 3 to 4 weeks before the meeting, our teachers get together and nominate a student who they think really reflects what our values here at the middle school, as well as who's been working hard. And we pick that student through the nomination process, and then the teacher lets the parents and the student know, and the parents get to come to the community meeting. The TA teacher introduces the all-star with a little speech about what they've been doing to get nominated, and then the all-star student actually gives a speech as well. And they are able to tell the other students what led them to being picked as an all-star, their responsibility, how they show integrity, perseverance, and learning in our middle school. Star bears and moments. So we have a container in our office where we put the star nominations for star bears, and they write, things that student does. Like they might help them, they might have done something that kind of rocks, and we acknowledge them every day through announcements. At the community meeting, we pick 8 of those randomly, and they get a bag of goodies, and one person gets the free snack, and they get kind of excited about that. We then take the stars and we put them up in our Star Moments bulletin board. Our TA council is something that's really important to our students, and they kind of plan the dances, any kind of fun days we do here. They advocate for the other students. This is a kindness video that they showed and made a gratitude challenge video that I would like to show you.
All right, who are you all? What are your names?
Olivia, Carissa.
All right. And what are we doing here this week?
We did the gratitude challenge with the sticky notes. Each color sticky note represents a different TA.
And what did they do each day? Was it?
They wrote what they're grateful for on the sticky notes and put it on the board behind us.
Why is this something we did?
To bring more positive energy to our school.
Do you think it went well?
Yeah. Hi, my name is Autumn. I wrote the sticky note for my family and my friends because I'm super grateful for them. And then I felt really happy when my St. Peter wrote this sticky note for me.
Hi, I'm Olivia.
What is something you're grateful for?
Friends.
What did you wrote on the sticky note that you're grateful for?
Family.
Is there anything else you want to share about gratitude?
Yeah. I'm Marissa.
What's something that you're grateful for?
I'm grateful for my teachers.
What were you grateful for that you wrote on the sticky note?
I'm grateful for Miss Martin always being there when I need to talk.
Is there anything else that you wrote on the sticky notes?
Yeah, I'm grateful for all my teachers and always being there and supporting me.
I'm Kaya.
What are you grateful for?
My mom.
Did you participate? Why or why not?
Yeah, because I wanted to be in the video and because it's Thanksgiving and I wanted to put on the board what I was thankful for.
What is something that you wrote on a sticky note?
That I'm thankful for my mom.
Hi, I'm Olivia Erbs. I'm a para-educator for the 6th grade at Enosburgh Middle Falls School.
Did you write a sticky note?
I did.
What did you write that you're grateful for on the sticky note?
I'm grateful for all my students. I love these kids here. They're a highlight to everything. I love all the sunshine they bring when they come to school and the chaos and the banter. Yeah.
What does gratitude mean to you?
It means being grateful for what you have.
Love the movie Day. Okay. And this is a picture of the pancake breakfast that we just had. The TA council made pancakes for all of the students at the beginning of a fun day. Wayfinder Tuesdays is another way we build community. Wayfinder is our SEL program that FNESU is using, which is fabulous. My students, they have mixed feelings, but a lot of them like it. They're in grade level classes during this. It's every Tuesday. And there's a lot of focuses for 6th grade. They focus on building connections through self-awareness and community. 7th grade, understanding, valuing, and accepting others. And 8th grade is understanding, valuing, and accepting each other. And our teachers actually teach the Wayfinder lesson. And I had got experience to teach one lesson a couple weeks ago, and it was fabulous to see the students engaging in the lesson and also learning about habits of mind. And it was obvious that the teacher created this really safe environment in which they could voice their opinions as well as really dig deep into some different feelings that they had. Our academic community that we built here, one of the things we have is a rubric for responsibility of learning. It includes preparation for class, engagement and participation, kindness and respect, work completion, and attendance. At the end of the quarter, the students who have P or E in all their classes for responsibility for learning have a bonus fun day. Quarter 1, we took them to the movies at the Weldon Theater. Quarter 2, we got to take them to UVM basketball game. That's this picture. And then quarter 3, it's always a surprise. So this is something that the kids engage with the rubric at least 2 to 3 times before the end of the quarter so that they know where they stand and kind of what they can do to improve and be able to set goals. Professional learning communities are another way that we engage in building community, and this is our teachers get together on Thursdays from 8:20 to 9:30, and they're able to talk about, share strategies, share teaching practices, collaborate. This has definitely increased student learning here at middle school. It's something that they get to use what I need time for the students. What I need time is 3 times a week for 30 minutes, and it's 6-week rounds. And this is a time that they get to talk about how their kids are doing and what they're doing in win time. And this summer, 2025, I am taking a team to the PLC at Work Institute so we can learn more about PLCs, professional learning communities, and the effectiveness of them. That is it. That is how we build community here at Enosburg Falls Middle School. Thank you.
I know Heather loves listening to herself, but that video was a great overview. Thank you, Heather. Are there any questions?
Thank you so much for putting that together, Heather.
Mhm.
We appreciate that. So
Thanks for listening.
Okay.
So if we could go to Vern
Yep, we're
next
into
for
Vern now.
facilities update. We have 2 things on the agenda. One is the asbestos abatement at Enosburg Elementary School. Do you want to start with that?
So sent a RFP out to 4 or 5 asbestos abatement. And in today's age, if you get a couple back, I guess you consider yourself lucky. So we got 2 bids back from 2 companies that were a little far apart, but obviously actually Morgan and I are working right now on moving forward with that. But the company that we've used in the past, and they do a great job. So we bumped it up to a little larger project than what we had initially were gonna do. We try to split the school in half to get it done a little quicker. So I think we're taking on 10 classrooms and in the hallway, half of the hallway down through. There's a termination in the hallway, so it's a good clean finish to where we're gonna go. Right now, I've got to talk with Jen. I'm gonna actually go to Missisquoi school to take a look at some epoxy floors that they've been using. We've been using epoxy floors in Beth School for quite a while on the bottom floor where the floor is really wavy, and it's a good answer to a tough floor. So, but anyways, I wanted to do a little visit and take a look and actually talk to the facilities guys there and see what their concerns are and whether or not we go with an epoxy, with a planking. I just want to make the right decision to make sure that everybody's happy. So that's
I saw
basically.
them putting those floors in this summer. It was kind of cool to watch.
What's that?
I spent some time at MVU this summer.
Yeah.
I saw them putting in those floors. It was
There's
kinda
actually
cool to
3
watch.
processes. Beth has a quartz that it's a self-leveling, they trowel it on. And then there's another one, and then there's this broadcast spread that we're talking about. And I actually reached out to the principal at Missisquoi yesterday to see what her take was on it, and she liked it as well. So I just want to do a little fact-finding mission with Buck and take a road trip and see how it goes. So it's looking like we're going to be able to pull this off this summer. I'm pretty excited about it. I think it's going to look great, and I appreciate your guys' support. Letting us move forward with this, and because it's not going to go anywhere if we don't address it sooner.
So in terms of action tonight, as Vern mentioned, there were 2 bids. One was, again, for doing about half of the school for the abatement. One was $70,430. The other one was $164,884. And so we are obviously bringing you a recommendation that you give me authority to enter into a contract with Environmental Hazards Management, who's the apparent low bidder, to do the asbestos work at Enosburg Elementary School. Because we only received 2 bids and it's over $40,000, we have to get a bid waiver from the AOE. And so I think you can give me the motion to move ahead, and just know that that won't happen until we actually get the waiver from AOE.
Okay, do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Sarah made a motion, all those in favor?
Aye.
And then we'll bring quotes in the future about the reflooring piece of that project. We're anticipating around $100,000, but we don't have quotes in hand yet, and it's kind of a crazy environment in terms of where costs are going.
We've given square footages, we have an idea. Actually, the epoxy flooring may be a little less money. The prep is a little bit different. To have the best outcome for these floors, we grind the floors so they're completely flat and no waves in them. So we've been doing it now for about 3 or 4 years, and it really makes a huge difference on the install. So like I said, I have to get together with Jen and like I said, do this fact-finding mission and longevity-wise. And the biggest reason why I'm looking at this is we just don't have the bodies anymore in these schools to take care of the waxing, the stripping, the waxing, the floors. And I think this is a good alternative to that.
And then, as is in my report, if you're so inclined, I would also look for a motion to use capital reserve funds as needed to fund the project. So, like most of the projects, if we get to the end of the year and we can get some of this work done in June, we have money in your general fund, we will use that. But we like to get a motion on the book so that we can draw money from capital reserves as needed.
I'll make the motion.
Rachel made a motion, all those in favor?
Aye.
I'm aye.
So the second piece on the agenda has to do with the snack shack. So we have talked about this several times this fall into this winter. And where we left it was we wanted to get some feedback. These ladies are here to talk on behalf of the boosters. We wanted to get some feedback from them about that project. And I know Vern has been working on this, and I'm gonna hand it to you to.
Yeah,
to move
so looking at the options, we've got, again, we went out to 4 bids, and 2 answered. Matt Clark's, which is what they do, we're looking at 40,000 for that. Scott Goodhue gave a bid of infilling it for 50. I don't really know what the building is worth, but I'm thinking it's probably not quite that. So my recommendation is, and again, it's just my recommendation. Well, I'll do whatever your guidance says you want me to do, but I think it would make sense to get those municipals above ground and maybe put it on a slab. I know PFA did one. I talked to Tim Smith about it. They had, of course, they went a little bit more elaborate, but I think they had like 240 in theirs. I do think, obviously, I know, believe me, I was on the hockey board. I know what those snack shacks bring in. It's a lot of money and it's a lot of help. So I do think it's important to get it up and running. I would like to do the 2 ADA bathrooms as well. I don't know if the locker rooms are needed or not. They're pretty small.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I'm just looking for some guidance from you guys.
So I think the board is needing guidance from both you.
Yeah, you know what,
from
let me
the
start over a little bit.
Okay.
I don't know if we.
I just want to be clear before
So,
we go any further.
about a year and a half ago, I walked down in the basement and the walls are literally caving in on about a 20-degree angle. I think it has to do with a couple of things. Number one, they pulled the trailer off there that had the pockets with the steel that held that wall out. I think, I'm not sure what the drainage situation is there. I don't know if we're getting the water away from the building. We all know it's a lot of clay around here, so it's just a lot of negatives. And I mean, we've got some gaps in there that are pretty extreme. And the right way to do it would be to dig around it, re-pour the walls, or get it above ground and do something that's not gonna move and maybe be a little bit more permanent. Like I said, I kind of came in on this, late to the party, but as far as, the building itself, needs a little help downstairs with the walls and everything. So I'm looking for some guidance, but it is not a safe, it's not a safe building right now the way it is, and I can't in good faith put people in there.
Can I ask a clarifying question?
Sure.
So your bids that you just talked about, is that lifting the existing
Yeah,
building,
they would, yes.
bringing all of the utilities up, and then
No,
backfilling?
those two bids are to try to repair the wall and
Okay.
and whether or not, there's just a lot of questions on, you know, what was there, is there any perimeter drain to get the water away from there? We don't know until we dig up.
So what I'm hearing is it could be the possibility we put the money in and fix it and this same problem could happen again.
That's my
is what
concern.
I'm hearing.
Or more money down the road.
Right, so.
Versus just fixing it the
Yeah,
right way.
I kinda like to
first
get
time.
the fixtures above, I mean, it's what they had there, and it was I think it was probably a good plan, but it just kinda backfired a little bit.
So what we don't have a bid for yet is to bring utilities
Yes.
above
Yep.
and then fill that in.
Right, that RFP went out, and it's due, I think, in 3 weeks, to give them time to,
And is that the same footprint on that RFP?
well, this is the problem I've got is, I guess before, so that's the RFP to go out to demolish, but I think we need to sit down and get a footprint so I can give you a wise bid. I can't, you know, I'm kinda just throwing darts right now. But it's obviously gonna be kind of a design build, I think, as we go along, but I just, you know, the nice thing about it is we've got some really good contractors that I think will work with us. So I guess that's where I'm at right now, but I will do whatever you guys wanna do.
Okay,
So, can, before you start.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that you can share with the board what your priorities are for that space. I'm guessing that's where you're going to go, and then the board will need to decide how are you gonna move forward, at the end of this. And I think guessing you might have something to say about timeline. I know you've got some fundraising.
That was, because I had asked that last time
Yeah.
about, because I know you guys have been fundraising
Yeah.
for this.
Yeah.
So we had the Calcutta in the fall, which was really successful. So the money that we have to sort of that we raised to put toward this is $12,479. So that is what we raised to put toward it. I know that like I've heard people say like it's just a snack shack, do this, just set up a table. I don't think people understand how much Boosters does for our school and not only just athletics but other programs. You know, I don't know if you've been to a basketball game, but we purchased the table and the chairs and we do the championship jackets and just the basketball alone, Snack Shack, we raised almost $5,000, almost $4,000. And that's with our expenses and everything taken out. So in the grand scheme of things, like it is just a snack shack, but for us, it's like a huge income for us. And so, so that we can continue to do all these things. You know, we are still gonna fundraise, we sell signs, that businesses can purchase, but for us, you know, we've missed baseball and soccer. Obviously it's not feasible to happen for baseball. If there was something that we could put in place, I don't know, I'm not into like carpentry and all that, I don't know what it takes, I don't know if it's even reasonable to have it ready for the fall. But I do know that, you know, the end goal for us would obviously be to get moving as quickly as we can. And, you know, we have that money to give, I just, you know, we don't know what else we need to do or, you know, where's the other money coming from and, you know, what else as boosters can we do to get it moving?
So, I know a little bit about the boosters.
Yes.
When my kids were
Yes.
here, I was on the boosters as well. So I know you do fabulous work to support the community and the students. So when you think about what's down there are changing rooms in the back. There are the 2 handicapped accessible bathrooms.
Yep.
And then there's the kind of kitchen area, right?
Yes.
When you think about, I mean, do we need all of those pieces? Do we need
I don't
some
think
of those?
so. I think that we talked about it. We haven't talked as a board yet for boosters, but the changing rooms aren't necessarily utilized. They're not unlocked a lot. They're small. It's not like a whole soccer team can go in there. I think we would be okay with kind of downsizing and taking those out and keeping the 2 bathrooms. I will say also, like, to take the basement issue out of it, there's definitely, when it was built, a lot of things, like there's water that comes in the kitchen, there's like rotting in other places, and so I don't know, you know, there's, to do it the correct way obviously the next time, just keeping in mind that like there's definitely more to do than just the basement and it hasn't been utilized in so long that I don't even know what the inside looked like and the water and what the snow and ice have done. So I know like the ramp and the stairs all had to be kind of replaced also, so.
They have been, or they
need to be, yeah.
I think the nice thing about it is we can utilize what's there already. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the fixtures, there's nothing wrong with the stuff that's in the kitchen. I think we can utilize all that, which would be a nice savings.
And if it's cheaper to just fill in and have it on a slab and not have to go in and fix those walls, I think we're gonna see a bid that's, you know, significantly lower.
Right.
I went out to five contractors for that, the demo part. And then, like I said, I think our next step is we try to get a footprint. Is you know, does the kitchen need to be bigger? Does it need to be smaller? Is it functional the size it is? And then we can move forward.
I think we definitely have thought about it, and the kitchen, everything, we are happy with the size. It's just we can do without the changing rooms if that was something to cut out. And obviously having 2 bathrooms is better than 1, but I think there's like a little wiggle room also. And I do think like it's such a staple for our school to have it, and it's, you know, right now it's just such an eyesore, and nobody likes to go in the porta potty, and we, you know, there's lots of comments over the fall like, why aren't you running the snack shack, you know, and so it's, you know, it is something that's important, I think, for our school community.
I'm hoping, I don't know, I haven't had a chance to talk to Nate and the building trades, but, you know, we do have a building trades teacher that is a plumber, and I think we can definitely help out with that as well.
Yeah, I do think, I don't know.
The first time?
What?
Didn't building trades help with this building?
Yeah, they did.
That's what I
They
thought.
built it.
I don't know the background on it either, but I know that like when we were open the last time for fall, there was no heat or hot water. So I don't know if that's something that was broken or just not, I don't know if it was just not turned on, but that's definitely something that needs to be looked at also. And not heat for us, we don't need the heat, but like the building's freezing cold, you know, when you get in there and just.
If you're gonna have bathrooms, you've gotta have heat.
Yes.
Right.
Especially late in October, you know.
So I would like to have Vern come back with a pricing on the, getting all that upstairs, you know, all of it.
Yeah,
Obviously, the
getting
plumbing.
everything above ground. So that, like I said, I think my next logical step would be to get together with the boosters and see what we need for a footprint. And, or do we just say, you know, the kitchen size and then enough for 2 ADA bathrooms and this, I can figure that out if you want me to draw something.
I think it can be that simple.
Okay.
I don't think the basement was used for storage or anything.
It wasn't, it's empty.
So I know the baseball teams used to just go in there and do their hoorah thing, so it's not necessary to have a basement or like the space.
Is there any way the building trades could help with that?
If I think in the plumbing aspect,
Okay.
I wouldn't say building aspect at this point.
Okay.
So, I mean, I don't think we need a motion, but I want to make sure that I'm hearing this right. You're looking to have Vern bring back prices on knocking down, filling in, building new.
And bring in the electrical and.
Yeah, no basement.
So I'm gonna try to force this a little quicker than, I mean, I had to go out, they had to be able to get the pricing, the dumpsters and the bidding and everything, so, I'm hoping by like late next week, I might be able to shuffle and get some pricing for you, that's my goal. It's a little earlier than what the RFP came in at, but I'll see if I can, cause it is, I know we need to get moving on this thing.
In the meantime, is there like, I'm just like thinking outside the box for you guys for, you know, spring sports season. Can you get like a she shed or like a, do you think talking
We
to
talked
someone?
about
like one of the
You know what I
Amish
mean?
sheds or
Yeah.
something.
So the
Yeah.
she shed is what we had,
Yeah.
but it was like a she shed of the 70s
Oh.
or 60s. Do you
Gotcha.
remember that?
Okay.
I do.
Well, I was
That's
just
what-
thinking we could get creative, you know, maybe talk to a business to get them to donate one for just like a little bit.
Yeah, we definitely, Vern and I talked about it. I think the hard part in that location is finding a space that's
Spot.
flat right
Flat,
now.
exactly.
And the water at the field is definitely an issue. It doesn't drain very well, so we definitely have toyed with
Put it on a
that.
trailer.
Yeah. I mean, I was like, let's get a food truck.
Right.
There you go.
How fun is that? Yeah.
So we're not talking at all about the option of rebuilding what is lifting and rebuilding.
I think,
right?
I personally
You need
think
to do
you're
it
throwing
right.
money away.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. Right.
Yeah, I'd like to get a price for the whole thing, just so.
Just do it
cut
right.
down, yeah.
Can you communicate with me if we have to sit down, but I'll draft something out, I'll see if I can get over there some graph paper tomorrow.
Okay.
And get some sizing, and then I think we can move forward with it.
Okay, I think we're gonna have a booster, we're supposed to have it tonight, and so I had to postpone it, but, I think we're gonna have one next week, I can try to, if you could try to come as a group, you know.
Thank you for all the fundraising that you
Yeah,
did.
it's been fun.
That's great.
Yeah,
It is fun.
it is fun.
Amy and
Is
Ashley.
It is, I mean, it's fun because everyone's like, oh, do you guys like own the snack shack? Cause it's just us that do it all the time.
We're thinking about putting a sign up.
there,
Let's
maybe
open a restaurant.
portfolios, yeah. So.
Venmo for chips.
Right.
Yeah. I know, we always have people like, can we give you personal tips? We're like, no. It's like a comedy show and a hot dog, you know, it's like.
You guys put in hundreds of hours every
we do.
year,
Yes,
and
we do.
this is an important piece of the community, and your work is fantastic. So just thank you.
And I would like her daughter's graduating and she'll have someone, and Grady's gonna be a senior next year. I'd like to be able to hand over the torch and have him be successful, you know, to someone else. You have kids coming up. Yeah.
Rachel, you can't make eye contact.
Yeah.
Shauna has tried it.
Yeah.
So I was like, nope.
Rachel does look kind of like a booster.
She does.
No,
She's a go-getter.
Boosters are great.
Yeah.
I'm good.
We're a small
I'm on
group, but-
enough things right now.
What's
We're good. Yeah, I know.
We're a small group, but we work well together and we work hard. So.
Well, and I just love like the senior, like all the stuff you
Yes,
guys for
we
your
always
senior
do stuff,
camps.
yeah.
I just really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you for coming.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'd like to cut Vern loose if that's okay.
Just one quick question.
Sure.
We talked about moving that sign one time, the latest sign, and getting upgraded. Are we
The what?
still, is that still on the book?
I had, somebody sent me something a while back.
The sign by the fields. we were gonna
Yeah,
put
we're
it
gonna move by
outside
the bank.
Yeah.
Over on the corner.
Yeah.
That was maybe a year ago.
As long as-
Robert
That wanted-
Jarvis. Robert Jarvis was looking into it, and he was working with the bank.
Yeah.
And it was moving along, and then they were concerned about something underground. Do you remember?
No, but, I mean, as long as we put it near a pole with a transformer that we can knock it down to power, I mean, it's, that one we put in the BFA is beautiful, I mean, the thing does everything, but it is nice, but, so you wanna get it on the basically.
Yeah, so they can see it from Main Street, right, as you're coming down.
Do you want to follow up with Robert Jarvis
Yeah,
and we'll put that on the agenda for next month?
Kinda forgot about that.
CC me on that?
Yep.
So.
I remember there were some zoning issues
That's what I was thinking
back
too.
in the day where like you can't have like a lighted sign and
Yeah.
you know after like I don't know but it got held up in zoning the first time they tried to put it out
That's
there.
silly. There's a gas station right across the road. It's less all the
Right?
time.
An interesting point.
Sorry. It's
Yeah.
silly.
Yeah, that's it. Get him out of here.
We're out of here.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
unless you want to stay for fun.
Thank you guys.
Thank you very much.
for everything.
All right, I'll move back over to Morgan then.
Okay. I sent out by email your FY24 audit. Hopefully folks have had a chance to read it cover to cover. If you're ready to accept it, I would look for a motion to accept the Enosburgh-Richford Unified Union School District FY24 audit.
We'll entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Rachel made the motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
I'm not.
No updates for FY25. FY26, obviously, congratulations on getting your budget passed. The final vote tally was 259 to 217, which was 54% to 46%. It's the closest pass that we've had, but it should be a big enough spread that I've not heard of anyone asking for a revote or a recount, and it's it's almost a 10% swing, so you should be good there. And maybe that's the last time we'll have to vote on budgets. I'm gonna jump on with Lynn for the legislative update, but other than the audit, that was the only action item I had along with her stuff.
Lynn?
Okay, so I'll jump into mine. I'm going to read the personnel report because I didn't do the slideshow. So we have under personnel hiring, we've hired a long-term substitute teacher, Stephen Davio, for grade 3. This is just informational. He is beginning at the end of April. We have resignations at Enosburgh Elementary School. This is under the SU because this is a BT position. Actually, all of these. Michelle Westcott, Samantha Mason, she was under the SU but under pre-K, and Shelley Hicks under the BT position as well. At Richford Junior Senior High School, Kyle Kramer as the middle school English teacher. I will need a motion from the board on Kyle's.
I think we did that last time.
that one.
Yeah.
Oh, I think I threw that one in. I might not have told Jamie that. Okay. Informational, Christina Soyko? How do you say it? Swiefko. Paraeducator, and Liza Bordeaux, varsity soccer coach, all resigning. Open positions at Enosburgh Elementary, music teacher for 25-26, pre-K paraeducator. At Enosburgh Middle School, I have middle school track and field coach. Enosburgh Middle High School JV softball coach, high school principal, paraeducator. At Richford Elementary, school counselor, elementary teacher, kindergarten teacher, pre-K paraeducator. Richford Junior Senior High School, long-term sub for the school nurse, and middle school softball coach.
And Kyle's position, we haven't posted it for next year, or can we? Or talk
So
about that later?
we can talk about it. Will middle school ELA.
Yeah.
We're in a place right now where we're kind of, Morgan and I are going to meet to talk about when we're good with posting positions and wanting to look at class sizes and all those pieces as well. So let me just add that so I don't forget. Okay. So I'm going to hold on the in-district transfer until next month, or actually May, because I'm not sure why I had that on there for the March meeting, but I'll give you a report out on the transfers that happen under Universal High School Choice and the transfers that happen under your Enosburgh-Richford choice policy. So you'll get that report in May. I want to talk about the Enosburgh Middle High School principal search process. So the last time we met, we had talked about hiring a consultant to help with the search process. So after the meeting, I looked through the proposals that we had received from consultants, and I really didn't need help with the search process, but what I did need help on is the recruitment. So what we're finding in Vermont is that we are not having a lot of candidates apply for administrator positions. So I know our principals work really hard to make it look fun, but they're really hard jobs. And so we were able to find a recruiting company that has more of a national pool, and we've had some success on the other district of hiring people from out of state to come and work. So we want to be able to see all the candidates that we could potentially get. This is the most important hiring that we do in schools. It's really impactful. So we're working with a firm to help us with national advertising. They have a whole network of groups that they are able to send this out to, and they have done that. They also have listservs of people who are looking for jobs that they have mailed out individual notices about this position. So we're working with them on that, and it's substantially less than the max that we had talked about last time. So that posting on their website is going to end on March 26th. So one of the things that we talked about when we were working with the recruiter was something that we've never done here before. And they were talking about how you might have a sitting principal somewhere near you, but they don't want to apply because it's not a private search, right? So one of the things that we talked about was having the first round of the search be confidential so that none of the names are released in round one. So that could potentially be something that's attractive for someone who wants to just dip their toe in to see if this is the right fit without having that trigger their whole community finding out that they're maybe looking. So The first round is confidential. We're not going to engage anyone from the school at that level. We're going to have a very small team that will be looking at the first round candidates. We're hoping to do that on the week of March 31st. Once we narrow that down to who we think will go through as finalists, we will let them know if they want to proceed from that point forward. We will try to keep it confidential with the small team. And that doesn't always go well, but we will try to keep it confidential with the small team and then bring it to the board for input. So that small team would be working to look at the candidates that we put forward, not to reduce necessarily the candidates, but to try to capture from their perspective what the strengths are of those candidates and what areas of concerns they might have. So we're looking to do that sometime on the week of April 3rd. We're really looking for April 3rd and 4th because what I'm trying to do is to get us through this process before April 15th, because that's about 90 days before contracts expire for administrators. So there are out clauses in some administrators' contracts to be able, we'd still be an option for people who are in current positions. So that brings us to the board round. So you have a meeting on April 8th is your regularly scheduled board meeting, which is at Richford Junior Senior High School.
Elementary.
What?
Sorry, it's at Richford Elementary.
Richford Elementary School, not in Enosburg. But we should do our search interview in the high school, in the middle high school that they're applying for. So Moore and I talked just at the beginning of the meeting about maybe having the final round for the board the night before our regularly scheduled meeting. So that would be April 7th. Is that something that could work for people? I think that would be the Monday, April 7th.
Yeah, of course I didn't bring my planner with me today. Yeah, that should work though.
Yes?
Yeah. Works for me.
Does that work for you?
Yeah, it's fine.
What time are you thinking?
Probably 6.
6, okay.
Like 6.
Here.
Yeah. Could that work for you, Sarah?
I think so.
Perfect. Okay. So, any questions or comments on the principal search process?
For the first round, are you gonna have any board members or no board members?
We could, if there was, I wouldn't recommend, I don't think this should be a big, huge team, but if
I
there
think in the
was,
past we've had like maybe one.
yeah, if you wanted to have one board member to join for the first round, that's where we're, what's that?
Go ahead.
That's where we're going to dig into background checks as well.
Rachel would like to do it.
Rachel? Perfect. Okay, if there are no questions, what I will do, if we start at 6 on that night, I'll bring draft interview questions, and then instead of us spending a lot of time tonight building questions, I'll bring some to start with, and then we can look at how we want to modify that from there. Okay?
Sounds good.
All right, that's all I have except the legislative update. I've been at the National Superintendent's Conference. I got in about 1 a.m. last night. And so I did not have time to prepare a legislative update, but thankfully Morgan follows the legislative session closer than anyone I know. He may have been watching 3 committee meetings at once today when I walked by his office. So he is going to take the lead on the legislative update.
Did you watch the CTE one?
No,
Oh.
it got postponed.
Oh,
It was supposed to be at 3 and it
Yeah.
just seemed to disappear.
okay.
But I wanted to.
I have no idea what's going on at this point.
So the legislature was off last week for a town meeting break, and they reconvened today. There is a lot going on. Most of it is related to the governor's plan. The few things that are happening that I know of that are not related to the governor's plan, there has been a cell phone ban bill that was discussed last year. It's come back this year. I had heard at the beginning of this session that it was dead and wasn't gonna be taken up, and what we're hearing now is that there's been a push to breathe life into that again. So I don't know anything about the content of it. I do hear that it's moving, and it may be something now that we have to watch and could get passed by the end of the session. The Senate Education Committee today weighed in on Zoe Saunders' reappointment as Secretary of Ed. There were some court cases around whether her interim secretary position could be permanent, and the court ruled that it couldn't, that she basically had to go through a confirmation process again. So Senate Ed passed her out 5-1. Last year it was a 3-2 vote, so a little more support for her. 2 of those on the Senate Ed committee are Democrats. There are 12 Republicans in the Senate, and so probably if she has 1 or 2 other Democrats supporting her this go round, she'll be confirmed by the full Senate. There's not a date yet for that as far as I know, but it looks like that'll happen. The governor's plan is now under H454 is the bill number. It is going through the House. It's primarily being vetted in House Education, but they're splitting parts off for other committees to look at. So there will be a lot of testimony happening on different parts at the same time. It's 107 pages. It's a pretty massive bill. There's 2 sections that will be added to it that haven't been released yet. But in the main bill right now, there's sort of four major areas. One of them is going from 122-ish districts down to 5 and 52 superintendencies down to 5. That seems to be getting a lot of pushback. People don't think 122 is the right number, but nobody that I've seen in the legislature thinks 5 is the right number. So people are tossing around 7 or 12 or 14 or 20. So that, I don't know if they'll get the number by the end of this session, but there seems to be acknowledgement that that the number is going to land somewhere between 5 and 122. The second big piece of that is a change around the funding formula, moving from what we have now, which is you guys warn a budget, the voters vote on it, and the state has to fund it, to a system where the state's going to say, here's how much money you get, and we will largely have to live within that budget. The number that the governor has proposed is $13,200 per weighted pupil. It's more money than we see right now. It's a lot less money than a lot of other places see, and the committees are really sort of digging into the assumptions behind that 13.2 figure and trying to figure out what's behind it and if the data is accurate, if the assumptions are accurate. I would anticipate that we might see movement on the funding formula. I don't know where that number is going to end up. One of the big pieces that doesn't cover is special education, which they haven't really released the details on yet. We're anticipating that in the next week or 2. So a lot of us are kind of holding our breath to see how that's going to be funded. There's also a move for most of the rulemaking authority to go away from the State Board of Education to the Secretary of Education, now under the governor. There's a lot of concern around that, and so we will see where that goes. There is also a bill that would move the Secretary of Education back to a commissioner position, so under the State Board of Ed. The advantages of that are that it's less politicized. You don't have major changes in education policy every time you change a governor. And it's how we had it probably 8 years ago, I think was the switch. Whenever Shumlin was in office, it got moved. That they have taken some testimony on that. I don't know if that has legs or if that would see it kind of brought into the governor's plan, either instead of changing the authority or maybe in addition to changing the authority, they also keep it under the state board. And then the fourth big proposal in the governor's plan is around these school choice schools. So within those 5 districts, that new board would have to name at least one school choice school in areas like the Northeast Kingdom where they have St. Johnsbury Academy. It's kind of anticipated that would be one of the school choice schools. And then the board would have to allow at least 10% of kids to move based on limitations of capacity at those schools. You could name public schools as school choice schools. There are a lot of restrictions on the independent or the private schools that could go in there, and they're trying to unpack that. And it looks like there's only about a dozen current independent schools that would meet the criteria, and they would have to be willing to do some things that they haven't had to in the past. So it would need to be really more of an open enrollment that they're currently experiencing now. They would have to have their books audited, which they don't have to have now. And so they would be treated a little bit more like public schools. There's a big concern about opening up school choice to more students from folks who are concerned about losing kids out of the public education system. And then there's concern from the independent schools, from what I've heard about them having to tell the state how they're spending their money, or them having to accept all kids, which they don't have to now.
I'm just going to add something there. So I think one of the things to understand is that we're really running 2 systems in Vermont. We're running a public education system and a private school system. And some of the kids that attend those private schools are funded by their families because they don't have access to school choice. Other schools, like other kids, like those kids who live in our NMV district, do have choice. So they attend some of those private schools, they're paid for with public dollars. Currently, those schools don't have to follow our same rules. So they can legally choose to discriminate against kids by having fees for enrollment and things like that, that would make it so that kids who live in poverty wouldn't be able to go to those schools. They also can discriminate for a variety of other reasons in those schools, and they also don't have to have the same accountability measures that public schools do. So the idea of opening up more options for private schools, I know that this is something that other people feel differently. This is something that I will tell you as a board that I feel strongly that is not a place that we should be going in Vermont. It is not less expensive than our public schools, and nor is there evidence that the education that they receive is actually better than what we're providing in our public schools. And then the other thing to just remember is that the more money that we take away from our public schools, the less opportunities our kids will have in our public schools. So I think that, from my vantage point, it's important for us. I want to say that we do have to do something different. I'm not trying to say we should stay in our current structure. We do need to, and I've said this to you before, we need to do something different. And I think that we have 86,000 students that we're educating in our public schools, and we need to focus on that. And we need to focus on doing our best by those students. And I know that there are other students, a much smaller subset of students, 3,500, I think that is that right?
Currently paying for.
That we're currently paying for, and there's about another 6,000 that are privately funded for those schools. So it is, the decisions that are made right now really matter. They're very consequential to the future of public education. And I think that this is a really important time for all of us to be paying attention, and for our community members to be paying attention too.
96% of the students in the state of Vermont attend public school. And when I asked, well, what do the 4% cost? They were like, we don't know. But the cost is more than just a cost that's being paid in, because it increases your per pupil spending for public school students in the state of Vermont, because it reduces the number of students attending public schools. And they don't even just have to attend a public school in Vermont to get Vermont money. They can go to Canada, they can go to other states, they can go to Europe. And it's coming out of the Vermont Education Fund. I feel strongly about this too, probably even more strongly than Lynn does about it. I do not feel that I feel like if you're a choice town, we'll pay for you to go to a public school in the state of Vermont.
So part of the challenge with modeling this new law is, like, right now, Northern Mountain Valley has, I think, 2 kids who are attending Rice, and Northern Mountain Valley is paying tuition to Rice for them. We don't know how many Enosburgh-Richford residents are attending Rice, because we don't have to pay the bill because you operate 2 high schools here. Under this larger district model, that would then be an opportunity for those parents. They could then come to you and say, my kid's here, I want you to pay for it. And so that's, I think, the concern around opening up school choice. It seems like, from what I've heard, the legislature is pretty uniformly in favor of not sending money overseas anymore. There's probably going to be some debate around the border states. We've got 2 interstate districts bordering New Hampshire that they got to figure out. Half of the kids in Alburgh go to New York State for high school. There's some down in the Meadowy River Valley that send a lot of kids to New York, and then some in the Massachusetts border. So those constituencies are going to be heard as this bill goes through.
The other piece to just keep in mind is if those 6,500 that are currently attending on private pay were to enter the public system and be able to use the equivalent of a voucher to continue on in the private school, if you just take that 6,500 and multiply it by that 13,200, that's an additional $85 million to the education fund. That almost 86 million.
It defeats the purpose.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So this is what we need to pay attention, because the details matter in this plan greatly. You gonna talk at all about class size, school size, or do you want me to?
Yeah. So there are some. There's nothing really tangible in the bill other than tipping that the AOE is going to start establishing class size minimums and school size minimums, and the anticipation is in 2028 that would come with some regulatory authority.
So I'll say a little bit about that. I think one of the things that I heard a couple weeks ago is that the class size piece might come as early as 27. 1 to 15, 1 teacher per 15 students in grades K through 3, and 1 teacher per 25 students in grades 4 through 12, which would be a significant shift. Early on, when the governor was talking about his plan, they were talking about minimum school size, recommended school sizes, and that's absent in the bill. And the reality is, what this bill does is it sets the expectation around, they'll talk more about academic outcomes, but they'll also talk about the class size metric, and whether or not you're going to be able to meet the other standards, like the district quality standards. And if you can't, then the conditions have been created for them to step in and say, you need to meet these. So then communities will have difficult decisions around whether or not they keep the number of schools that they have, or really the conditions are going to get created so that boards and superintendents are going to have to decide to close schools in order to be able to get to scale on those class size policies and other recommendations in the ed quality standards. District quality standards and ed.
Mm-hmm. So those 4 things currently in the governor's bill. Special ed funding, we think, is dropping this week. Nate mentioned CTE as well. The proposal, which does not have any legislation tied to it yet, is to create a single BOCES for the state that would have all the tech centers. They would get about $25,000 per kid. It feels like it's going to come off the top of the ed fund, but that hasn't really been stated yet. And then that BOCES board would be running all 17 tech centers in the state. It's unclear who gets on that board. When we think about how you would like operationalize that up here, it seems like it would be really difficult because we'd be trying to pull apart which building goes where. There are other parts in the state where they're housed in the same building as a high school, and so I don't even know how they would manage that. So we expect that the CTE bill, I think it's gonna drop this week. I don't know if we'll have enough details in it to really wrap our heads around it, but I think that is the next thing to come.
So it's a lot. Does anybody have any questions about what's happening?
I'm just curious, so this is at, and maybe it's a dumb question, I'm not sure, but this is at our state level and how we're shifting it. I mean, on the federal level, if things change there, do we know how that might trickle down and affect like this process? Would it affect this process of what they're looking at to propose? Would it not?
I think it's very difficult to predict the federal level. There's definitely some changes that we're all paying attention to. I think that in terms of the financial piece, there's definitely education funding that's at risk. I don't think it's at risk of completely disappearing, but I think that we've made some strategic moves here, and that from shifts from consolidated grant money into local to prepare us to be able to weather a reduced federal funding level. Do you want to add something?
I don't know that it changes the discussion directly around district size or school choice or those things.
Okay.
I think there are people in the legislature who are definitely watching that, and they know or they believe that cuts at the federal level are going to disproportionately hurt poorer communities, because that's what we're funding with federal money.
Yep.
And the change to a foundation funding formula, if they do it right, will disproportionately help poorer communities. And so they're saying that is maybe a good backstop against potential federal cuts.
Okay.
They are also saying, there's talk about we're going to pull $77 million out of the air to buy down property taxes this year. I think people are getting spooked by that now, given the federal situation, and saying, we should be really, any leftover money we should be tucking away because we don't know what's going to happen.
Yep.
So
I'm just wondering too, how concerned, the 5 different districts that he's portrayed, ours looks very large.
Yeah.
It's the biggest one.
It's 35,000
Doesn't
students, and it's from Richford to
To
Shoreham.
the lake, right?
To Shoreham.
To Shoreham,
Yeah.
right, yeah.
And Chittenden County would be part of us, so we would be nothing.
So it would be Chittenden County, it would be Enview, it would be us, it would be Fairfax.
It'd be
everything.
Franklin, Grand Isle, all of Chittenden, and about 2/3 of Addison.
And you're gonna have one school board for that whole district.
You have one school board of 5, and
the entire district.
it's proportional representation, so you would end up with wards.
So you get a quarter of a person.
So
Well, that's just it, like, how do you do
but
that?
I think there's another way to look at that. The wards will be divided, like, if you think about geography, there's so many people in Chittenden County that they would have more than one. But we in Franklin County would not likely to get one, because our population is so small, but we would be lumped in likely with all of Grand Isle and maybe a portion of Chittenden County to make the equivalent of one ward. So there might not be someone from this area that would end up on that board, but they have to figure out how they're drawing the lines for those wards.
And I really don't see 5 coming out of the
I don't
legislature.
either.
I would say it's gonna be double digits, but it's gonna be low double digits. I've not heard anything lower than, there's a proposal for 9 that's out there. That's the lowest I've heard anyone in the legislature speak. We're saying 17 along tech center districts or
I've heard
along
tech center
counties.
districts and county as the 2 most popular.
Is our tech center district also include St. Albans? We're
I
one
mean,
district?
it would.
I mean, if it,
But currently it doesn't.
currently it does not. Currently we only
Currently it
serve
does.
here.
Oh, so
So St.
if
Albans
that were the
serves
plan-
MVU, and
we are alone, we're standing alone in that.
we share the same regional advisory board.
I
But
see, okay.
other than that, it's
On the map for the agency,
Yeah.
Franklin Northeast is the Cold Hollow region, so
That's it.
that's it.
It's a pretty small region.
We're the smallest
Yep.
in the state.
Anything else? Okay, principal's report. Kelly?
Everything is informational.
Oh, she sounded so sick.
She's feeling well.
It's going around.
Beth?
All informational.
All right. No Jen, Matt?
2 highlights. We've got 2 field trips going out this week. One is our first robotics competition is heading to Lewiston, Maine. We've got 5 or 6 students going. Did I get that wrong?
No,
Oh.
that's so cool.
So cool.
Yeah, I heard
Yeah.
about it at home, so I'm excited for it.
Yeah, I saw their robot. It runs around. I mean, rolls around, and there's mostly students from the physics class, which is pretty cool. So they'll be off to Maine, which is an amazing new thing for our school. And our students who are going to the New England Music Festival also head out with AJ Banich. Maybe Camille. No, I think just AJ's going. Anyway, so, and that's, again, I think 5, 6, maybe 7 students, so. And
I
they're
hope
going.
they take lots of pictures and that we can post these, because these are important things that I think our community should be able to hear about from our schools.
And see,
Yeah.
because they're
Yes.
interactive opportunities too.
That's
I will
awesome.
pass that along, yes. Yep, that's it.
All right. Nate?
well, thank you for touring the Sugar House today. Hopefully that was educational. And then the other thing I just mentioned up there, I did a quick number crunch. Next year we're looking at, for out of district students coming to Cold Hollow, 9 MBU students and 2 BFA St. Albans students.
That's
So,
awesome.
yeah, it really is.
Did you say Fairfax too?
Right now we have 2 Fairfax students, but they will
Can I
be
ask what classes they're taking? Like
mostly.
why they picked?
So the only way they can come to us
Yeah,
is
is
if
if they don't offer it. then?
right, which is forestry.
Awesome.
So
Love
there's
that.
8 forestry out of district placements, and then medical careers is over enrolled at Northwest Tech. So
That's awesome.
So they can compare.
and
That's really cool.
3 of them coming here.
How's all that transportation work for those?
Well, right now they have to provide their own transportation, but if it's getting upwards of 10, right now we just do, they carpool if they get permission from parents to ride with each other.
Right.
And then they just carpool here, but
That's awesome.
we're not required to
Right.
pay for it. They're required. They actually, like Richford has to pay for their transportation down here. I mean, it's all the same budget, but in statute, the sending schools pay for transportation.
Very cool. That's exciting.
Yep, it is.
Anything else? Okay, board business. We got a Richford board seat vacancy, and I know Devin Lumber would like that. So if anyone wants to vote her in, or nominate her, I guess.
So can we give a little context before we move into that? So Devin has been on the board and didn't get the petition in, didn't quite get enough votes to win the write-in campaign. So you would just need to nominate to fill until the next election, and then that seat would come up again next March, correct?
Correct.
Oh, okay.
So if you so choose, you could nominate Devin to fill this vacant seat
Yeah.
for the next year.
You want to nominate?
Nominate Devin to
Okay,
fill the seat.
Sarah's nominated Devin. All those in favor?
Aye.
I'm an aye.
She texted me earlier and told me to let her know what happened, so she's going to be so excited to do that.
Okay, anything else for board business?
She's a great voice.
Yeah.
All right, so our next meeting is April 8th at Richford Elementary School. But we're gonna have
April
a-
7th at Enosburg.
Right,
Well,
7th
I'll
first.
be in touch with you.
Yes.
Wait, where are we at
Two,
this time?
2 in a row. So we're gonna
Oh,
do.
We're gonna do the principal.
You were over there. Principal search the 7th here, and then our regular scheduled board meeting on the 8th at Richford Elementary.
Or yes.
Okay. Anything else from anybody? Not there, entertain a motion to, do that?
I'll make a motion.
Rachel made the motion, all those in favor?
Aye.
I'm an aye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have the